Yeah, that's how we're starting.
Just when I did that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're already going.
Oh, cool. Oh, this is a very fine cognac. Thank you. Bryan got me this for my birthday. This is real cognac from Cognac France.
That's right.
And
Wait.
it's just, I really hope there's no additives in this, which I'm pretty sure they're not. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, so I think, pretty sure it's called cognac just because it's from cognac,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then, like, just like champagne is from champagne.
Yeah.
Even though you can get sparkling wines that are basically the exact same thing, just from different... And Proseccos are just called Prosecco because they're from that Italian region. It's all just sparkling wine, though.
Yeah. Apparently in tequila, for it to actually be tequila, it needs to come from tequila. Mexico.
There's some place called Tequila in Mexico?
I think so. I might be wrong about that.
Jamie, check it up. Wait, hold on. Let's see.
Nadav.
Let's check ourselves.
We need a fact
Tequila,
checker.
Mexico. Real place?
Nice.
Tequila is best known as being the birthplace of the drink that bears its name, tequila. Tequila, Jalisco.
Jalisco.
Jalisco?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know Spanish.
Yep. That's all I know. That's the only word I know. Plus, it was on Better Call Saul today. Jalisco
Nice.
is one of Nacho's lines. Actually, that might be a nice place to visit, like for a family reunion or just to like head down there. And
Mexico.
yeah, get some like
Yeah.
small batch tequilas and mezcals.
Have you ever been?
No, I've never been to Mexico proper, the mainland. I've been to Cozumel like 3 or 4 times, going on cruise ships with my family. It sounds like a good time. I mean, do you get some legit tacos and real tequila made
And
on
legit diarrhea?
the Yeah.
Everybody does.
And mariachi bands. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, real mariachi bands.
Oh, that's not an offense to any Mexicans, Hispanics, any south of the border uns.
No, yeah, not at all.
No, but no, I would love to go to Mexico.
Do you want to go as like a bro trip, or you want to bring your kids? You want to bring your family? That's the question.
Yeah, it's probably I think even family trip would be good, beach and stuff, but it'd have to be more obviously planned out, more of an itinerary.
Yeah.
More of keeping the kids safe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't just go wandering around.
No. Yeah, I asked Allison if she wanted to go to Mexico for a trip, and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm worried about getting killed and raped." I was like, "Really? Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that." Yeah.
It's more likely to probably happen to her here in Sacramento.
Yeah. Just go to Skid Row in LA.
Definitely don't go to Chicago. No, I don't know if they're doing that in Chicago, but I know a lot of people are dying there, and that's no joke.
Really? How are they dying?
Yeah, I mean, like, apparently it's crazy. Nadav, can you... Let's see. Chicago deaths 2022. Let's see how far. Just like, homicide victims 2022. Already, there's been 58 people. 58 people.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people
in 2022. In 2021, they had 316 homicides. One person basically killed every year. I mean, every day, almost. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always been a few opportunities to drive through Chicago. Like, hey, you want to go to Chicago with the family? And we're just like, no. What's there to really see out there?
Beautiful buildings, beautiful city, river.
That's where they
restaurants.
Shot the Dark Knight trilogy.
Did they really?
Yeah, Gotham was Chicago.
Oh, for all 3 of the movies.
That's what I hear.
Man, it's actually it's not complimentary if they choose your city to make it Gotham.
Yeah. What's the darkest, nastiest place we can think of? City.
It's
metropolis in the United States. It's just really dark.
They're probably
gritty.
stoked. They're like, they chose our city for Batman. And they're like, that's not a compliment.
Yeah. Isn't there a river what they dye green for St. Patrick's Day and have like bagpipes and stuff? Is it Chicago?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That'd be nice. I love bagpipes. I've been criticized for liking bagpipes. Like I brought it up in conversation before with like ex-girlfriends. Like, oh, what instruments do you play? I'm like, oh, flute, penny whistle, saxophone, piano, ukulele, bagpipes. And they go, like I just threw that in like a joke. And then she just keeps laughing and I'm just like staring at her. She's like, oh, you're serious? I was like, yeah, I love bagpipes. My favorite instrument. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. She's like, I hate bagpipes. I'm just like, yeah, we're not going to go on another dinner date after this.
It's weird that like people just automatically assume that like it's an obnoxious sound.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is.
If it's played like in a big field outside, it's pretty, there's something kind of haunting and magical about it. The thing I like the most is drones. Like when music just has a one low note that never changes, it's so beautiful. There's something really
What about
beautiful.
like a didgeridoo?
Yeah. I mean, if you have a didgeridoo and you're playing it constantly, and I guess it's what you're playing over that drone note that makes it sound good. If you're just like, you don't know what you're doing and you're playing on a keyboard, then it's like, But if you actually do some very well-chosen chords, not too many notes, you just choose some really spacious, maybe a melodic minor, or even the bagpipe scale is a mixolydian, I think. It's a modal scale. So if you're playing in C, then you'd play that C scale, but you'd start on G. You'd start on the fifth. So you go G up the C scale all the way back to G. And I think that's mixolydian. Yeah, it's mixolydian. It's the Irish scale.
Just so everyone else knows, I have no idea what he's talking about either.
I'm just trying to sound smart. I actually don't have like an enormous musical understanding, just kind of like as much as you might need to write some songs. But I feel kind of proud when I get to speak off what I do know.
You should be.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. I wish I knew what you were talking about. I just know if it sounds good or not. Sometimes. Sometimes.
But you like Irish music, right? You like the scales?
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Irish
Celtic
stuff, and like I've always been drawn to like exotic type stuff too. So like Arabic or even like Asian, type of like traditional Asian music, all that kind of stuff. Egyptian.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess that's kind of Arabic influenced. Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's
even Indian too, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how our minds are just programmed. When you hear a certain scale, it's like, oh, that's the Middle East. Then you hear pentatonic, you're like, oh, that's Japan and China. Then you hear like, then it's like, oh, that's India. And then you go to America and it's just like, please come there. I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm thinking. That's American music.
Yeah. That's American.
That's American right there. Oh, wait. Never made it as a wise man. Couldn't cut it out. There we go. That's better.
What about can you do a pop country?
Country. Yeah, a pop country.
A country. Yeah.
Let's see. What would that be? See? I can't even think of a song.
Because we probably haven't listened enough.
What would you do if you were asked to give up your dreams for freedom? That's my favorite. What would you do?
A real line, I guess, right? Yes, it's a real line.
Oh, yeah. It's from Team America.
Yeah, man, that's good. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I did for a wedding have to learn this one country song that the bride and her dad danced to at this private like house party in Diamond Head in Oahu, Honolulu. And what was it? How'd it go? She was staring out the window of her SUV, complaining, saying, I can't wait to turn 18. See, I don't know what this song is, but if you're listening and you know that song, just like throw it in the comments, please. I forget what that is, but I will never forget these lyrics. It's just like, it's your good hometown, country boy. I love my trucks and coming home from a long work week and drinking my cold beer and kissing my wife. And it's the good life. It's the good cold beer. It's driving to the fireside on the riverside on the Saturday night where I kiss my baby.
That's beautiful.
That's
beautiful.
the American good life. And that's what that country pop stuff, it's never going to go out of style because everyone feels that in their heart. Like, yeah, life's good, man. Just drinking beer with my brothers.
Yeah.
I love America.
Yeah, people make fun of it, but it really is. It's just feel good music.
The entire time I was just making fun of all that, I was getting chills up my spine because it's such a beautiful thing. I want to live in America like that. And I want Americans to celebrate freedom with me.
Thankfully, it's kind of where we live.
Yeah. We've got some good American-loving boys out here.
We should probably get
pretty grateful.
More learned on our country music living out here.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's a really cool thirst parlor out here near Genoa, Nevada. It's the oldest tavern.
In Genoa, you mean?
In Nevada, yeah.
Yeah. The oldest bar, the oldest tavern, yeah.
Yeah, and I went over there to ask for a gig, and I just looked around, like the pool tables and the deer antlers, and was like, I walked right out. It's like, I need to know way more country music and Western music before I ask for a gig here. Yeah. Which would be a lot of fun if, like, we just broke out a good 10-song set list where you on drums. It just really, Johnny Cash, it's the simplest stuff in the world. And just, like, some drums and also just play on bass, like, doom, 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 doom. It'd be fun.
It would be good.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be really fun. And I still want to get a drink in that bar.
You haven't done it yet.
No, have you had a drink in that bar already?
So
since they've opened back up and then you can go back inside and everything?
So Austin was visiting. He's my dear brother. And we were playing a Christmas night gig at this guy's party. And it was such a special warm night. And it was snowing. It was beautiful. We could hardly get in the driveway. And it was just like, hey, before we play this gig, let's get a proper whiskey in this proper tavern Western bar. And I was like, Austin, this is magical. This is special. I hope you realize how magical this is. And there was something on his mind, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. Maybe it was just like pre-gig anxiety. He's just like, I've never been to this guy's house before. I gotta remember all these like chords and things. But it's just like, let's just relax and have a drink at this beautiful little bar in the snow on Christmas Day, dude. We haven't seen each other. Yeah. So, yeah, I did break that spot open with my brother on Christmas, but it was snowing, so it was too perfect.
Man, but were the people, I guess, busy?
It was busy. That day? Man. There's a bunch of people in the bar on Christmas.
I'll pull up the picture of it here so people can see what exactly that bar is. Whoa.
It's just called Genoa Bar, right?
Genoa Bar, Nevada's oldest.
Thirst parlor.
Outside, epic.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
In the low light of day, and they have lights outside, there's like the candles and firelight. And
see, that's what you need to look like if you're there.
We're not just saying it. It really feels like you're in a movie. You are in the Old West.
Man, I want to take photos in there.
There it is. That's exactly imagine Christmas lights glowing and candles out there. That's what it was like. Having a whiskey with my brother.
Whoa. Okay. I won't do it like that again for anybody who doesn't want a psychedelic trip.
I'm pretty vain and self-conscious, and I want to just get over that in a lot of ways. I guess you have to kind of like be presentable in public to some extent, but I noticed how much my shyness and my pious humility, there's kind of like just this way I am with people, and I want people to think I'm like wise and intelligent and introverted, and I was just like, it's not actually helping anybody. I'm just being shy.
It's not even helping you.
No, it's not. I'm just being shy, and I'm maybe coming off as bitter or like an a-hole. Yeah.
Or you're coming off as somebody who wants them to think that you're wise.
Yeah. Which isn't wise at all.
But I remember going through that. I went through that for a while.
I remember when I was doing what you were doing, bro.
Yeah.
I remember when I was going through that phase.
Yeah.
I remember when I was just like you.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's see. How much older am I than you?
I think it's 6.5 years.
You just turned what?
33.
Whoa. Okay.
That's when Jesus became enlightened, so they say.
Nice.
And I think Buddha was maybe around the same time.
Something about that age.
Yeah.
That was a pretty, now that I think about it, 33.
Was that when you went to Egypt, Iceland?
No, that was 30. So
3 years later.
I don't want to say that's when I became enlightened, but I mean, like, I honestly think that
But you did.
33 is actually, wow.
You know what? It's funny. My brother Austin, he was talking to me, and he was just like, Bryan, huh? He bought a drum set, huh? He wants to start a trio, huh? You know what? I don't believe in enlightenment, but if there was ever a guy that was enlightenment, Bryan's freaking enlightened.
And you won't.
And he doesn't disagree. He's like,
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Why would
like,
I?
Yeah.
That's a wonderful compliment.
I would love, actually the best compliment I've ever heard was one of my dearest friends. We're walking through the woods. I'm looking at him right now in this photo. He's like, dude, you've just been talking in a whole hour and blowing my mind. He's like, dude, you're enlightened. And I was just like, oh, it melted my heart. Maybe how much my ego took it. I was like, oh, yeah. That just shows how much I'm not enlightened.
I know. It is a good ego. It's a good ego
so
compliment.
Good.
I know.
And I think you and I agree, or on a lot of fronts, especially being so, if the culture is doing something, if the masses are doing something, we kind of run in the opposite direction.
Yeah. And in fact, like, I made too much of an effort to do that when I was young. And then you realize that it's like, basically,
it's valuable.
Basically, when you find out that, like, by being the anti-conformist, you're just a conformist of a bunch of anti-conformists.
Right.
So you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, so I'm just actually just choosing to be a part of another group. But I don't know. None of us know what we're doing when we're young and like high school years and stuff. That's when you're supposed to do that stuff. So you can find your own way.
Yeah.
It's good, I think, to try to fit in with different things to see what kind of takes the best, Mm-hmm. And for me it was like, friends. I hung out with. I started out like, it was like skateboarding type people and like in like junior high.
I love the skaters. I hung out with skaters.
And I only really wanted to be a skater because I thought they were cool. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I didn't really have an interest in skateboarding.
Same.
So I was a poser, 100% poser. I could only like ollie. That was about it. I couldn't even ollie up a curb. Every time I tried to ollie up a curb, I couldn't, like, when I'd land, I don't know. I was like too afraid. I couldn't understand. I was a poser, 100%. But then it's still enjoyable to skateboard. I actually like it now. And I like it now. But then it went from skaters to like punk band in high school,
Mm-hmm.
And that was like another kind of edgy, anti-conformist sort of thing to do. Punk rock, going to punk rock shows, and that actually was pretty enjoyable. I liked all that. I really dug it. Yeah, these are the for all the anyone who's maybe 40 years old and also tuning in. This is like all the it was NoFX, it was Lagwagon, 10-Foot Pole. This was Blink-182 before the Damn It song.
Cheshire Cat.
Yeah.
Was that an album?
Was it called Cheshire Cat?
I think so.
This is the other
Ranch.
thing.
Yeah.
Dude Ranch was with Damn It.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny, man. Even back then, I never cared about who the musicians were. Like, I could care less who was actually making the music. I just liked the music,
Good.
I was never one of those people to get all into like the
Tom
people.
DeLonge.
Yeah. I was like
okay.
So yeah, those are some of those bands. Further Seems Forever, Propagandhi.
Brand new Yellow Card, or were they later?
They came a little later, but I definitely got on the Yellow Card train when they did their first album, and they were like, that first album was so good. And I think Ocean's Avenue was the other one after that. Those were both really good because they did decide to kind of change it up a bit and do something a little different in that scene, the pop punk scene, by adding in the violin.
Mm-hmm.
And that was cool because I played orchestra and I loved violin.
You played
strings.
Violin.
Yep.
Doesn't Geiger mean violin?
Yeah, it means Herr Geiger Spieler. I think it means like fiddler, like player.
Really?
Yeah.
And the Geiger counter.
And then you got a Geiger counter. That's somebody who counts really well from like 1 to 10, and then they can even go to 1 to 100.
No kidding. And those measure earthquakes, seismographs or something, sounds.
Oh, well, true Geiger counter is just a rate to measure radiation.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. The little ticking thing you always hear, tick, 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 like.
Oh.
And they have it in all the movies and stuff
Yeah.
too, yeah. Measuring when radiation or if somebody's got a, yeah.
After a keto popsicle, that brandy tastes a lot better. It was like cognac. Got some spiciness, some richness, woodiness.
I think, dude, dairy and speaking of what goes well together, like fats and like meat, like for every morning for me, it's eggs and bacon.
Mm-hmm.
And the coffee, I've always noticed, tastes so good. It tastes better if you drink it after you have a bite of bacon.
Absolutely.
After the bacon, coffee's amazing. I try just to make sure this theory is correct.
You put bacon fat in your coffee? Did you do that?
No, but obviously butter in the coffee works
Yeah.
well. You're right, but bacon fat's next level. No, but like I then after breakfast I had like some blueberries and raspberries, and then I drank the coffee. Tastes like shit.
Yep.
Like it's not good after fruit, but like coffee and like fat and butter and cream and fat and bacon and eggs, dude, it just goes together.
It does. Dude, like berries and then coffee, that's like brushing your teeth and drinking orange juice.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Right.
why did I do that? Yeah. I'm really picky about the black coffee taste. I've been trying to master the taste of just pure black coffee. The closest, I mean, if you're trying to intermittent fast or if you're doing like a low carb or low calorie sort of thing in the morning, black coffee is really good. But to try and master that flavor, it's just like you got to get the right beans, you got to get the right roast. Starbucks nitro cold brew, I don't know what they do, but that taste of that nitro foam, it tastes like there's cream in the coffee. There almost tastes like there's a sweetness just from the nitro foam. And I have tried a few other coffee shops nitros, and they're just not the same. Although Java Kai in Kauai, it's probably called Kai Bar now, but they had an amazing nitro cold brew. But we don't have nitro at our disposal all the time.
Did you see Oi has nitro?
Yeah.
Did you try it?
I did. There's kind of like a little bit too much of a roastiness to the flavor. And there wasn't a lot of nitro foam, which I like. A lot of nitro foam.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like a thin layer. Just a little bit of the head, mate.
It's true though, man. Like when I buy the canned cold brews, if you buy, they always taste so like they're so like acidic-y and like bitter and kind of like they're really hard to drink. But if you get a nitro one, it's delicious.
Yeah.
If you get a nitro cold brew in the can, delicious every single time. Yeah, I know. I haven't even looked at it. What is it? So it's actually like nitrous oxide. Is it nitrous oxide?
Nitrogen.
Just nitrogen.
Yeah. And then
Nitrous oxide would kill you, right?
nitrous oxide. Oh, it'd make you laugh and feel really good for a bit.
Okay.
But I think too much, it would probably kill you.
All right. So
Jamie,
nitrogen.
you gotta check that.
Yeah. Just nitrogen, and it's causing a foam. It's like
Nitrogen.
It's like carbonating water, but they're using nitrogen and
Exactly.
Okay.
It's smaller bubbles.
Ah.
So they're like closer together. The foam doesn't feel as like harsh and crisp. It just feels like a foam.
Nice.
Not so much bubbles, just foam. Like Guinness. If you open a can of Guinness, you've got that little pocket of nitrogen that opens somehow when you open the can.
I love that. I like Guinness.
Yeah, I like Guinness too.
I was bummed when I hear they add the color, right? Does Guinness add color? I know Newcastle does.
I know that Guinness has a lot of additives.
Yeah.
It's kind of like its own thing. It's almost not even a beer. It's like its own drink.
Yeah, it tastes great. There's some others
tastes
that
good.
I've had that are anyway.
Nitrogen. What was I gonna say? Anyway.
Now we're on the beers.
Well, if you don't have the nitrogen, how do you make black coffee taste really good? Just a few months ago, I bought a Chemex, which is supposedly the best tasting black coffee you can make. an engineer created this carafe and a specialty cotton filters, and you have to do it the right weight and the right temperature and the right water and the right procedure. And you know what? There is something pretty magical about it. It takes a lot of the acidity away. It almost tastes like you're drinking more just water, purified water, and just like nice, clean, hot, pure coffee taste. I haven't really found the right beans yet. I'm still on the search for beans. You have a bean you're still using.
I still love that one. It's the dark roast from
The French roast, right?
French roast, yeah.
From Equal Exchange?
From Equal Exchange. It's the dark one, though. It's like as dark as it can go on the meter for Equal Exchange.
It's the dark roast, not the French roast?
Yeah, I think it might be the dark roast.
Okay.
Oh, man. Sylvie!
I'm pretty sure it's the French roast you like. I love the Love Buzz, which is just the next layer down from the darkness, Equal Exchange. I don't know what Equal Exchange does. They've got the best chocolate bar I've ever tasted. The Panama, like it's 70% or something, 80% cacao. And the best beans, the best coffee beans I've tried. I've tried a bunch of hipster Portland coffee beans, San Francisco coffee beans. There's something about the Equal Exchange Love Buzz. And for Bryan, it's the Equal Exchange French roast, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is we were talking about this. It is, we're trying to get that perfect dark coffee taste, you know? Dude, as much as I do it every single morning, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, I'm still, like, there will be times where I'm like, I nailed it. This is perfect.
Yeah.
And then I try to do it again the next day, and I'm like, this sucks. What happened? So I've realized, like, I'm not using the paper. I'm still using the I'm not using a paper filter. I'm using the reusable one. And the one that came with mine is it's the Bodum. Is that the
Bodum.
Yeah, it's the Bodum one, and it's not that good. So you have to really grind way fine so that the water just doesn't pour through it, because it's not like you start pouring, water just goes straight through, and then it's not on the beans enough. So with this, I really have to grind fine, and then how I'm pouring over it, I've noticed too. It's how much water I put in at once.
The slow, delicate.
How, when.
Spill,
where, how often I redo it after that. If you wait too long before doing a pour, the beans, like on this fine grind, they'll sometimes turn into like a sludge.
Yeah.
And then you can't do any more water. So it's like, yeah. I found that I think I figured it out now. It needs to be going through at the right speed. Anyone who has a Chemex or makes this kind of coffee is going to be like, yeah, duh, dude. That's literally the whole point. It has to go through at a certain speed. But it makes all the difference.
I've even bought a bunch of these kettles that have the gooseneck, so it pours out the spout really slow, like in a slow stream. I think it does make a difference when I have like just a big old pot of hot water and I pour it in like a deluge really fast. Not the same.
Yeah, but I am pretty satisfied with my morning coffee. The only thing that sucks, and this is why I like drip coffee, the great thing about drip coffee is like my brother, he has drip coffee, and I think maybe both my brothers do. I got two brothers. But anyway, they're like, what I love about drip coffee is you can just fill up the carafe and then you just keep going back for like seconds, and it's like it's sitting there, it's ready for you to refill. It's
hot, stays hot.
Yeah. And it sucks. This time I'm like, every single time I want 3 cups of coffee. I'm grinding beans 3 times. I'm like pouring water over it 3 times.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like each time is this whole process for 1 cup.
And I'm trying not to use as many beans a second or third time. So I'm like, it's a smaller amount, and I'm trying to be like super precise, not put too much water. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
I got to admit, anytime someone I know makes like a pot of coffee in a coffee machine, I'm just like, these freaking primitive people. And then I taste it, and it's like, why does that taste so dang good?
Yeah.
Why does it taste so good? It should taste so much better when I make a Chemex or I make a French press, but it just tastes so good in the...
What do you think about the French press now? I feel like it's too oily. It has too much of the oils.
That's a good call. You're almost like squeezing and pushing pressure through, and...
I mean, I used to drink French press all the time. I really liked it. But apparently it's like the unhealthiest of ways to drink coffee.
No. Really?
Because...
a lot of those oils?
Apparently. I mean, it could be argued maybe it's the healthiest because you're not filtering out anything.
All those mycotoxins getting
Yeah.
through. Is that a real thing? Do we know yet if mycotoxins are a real thing? Like the bulletproof guy, he almost made, it seems like, wow, what a brilliant idea. He uses some sort of spectrum of light to beam off these fungi and these molds and these mycotoxins, these almost toxins you can't even see. They're not even normal toxins. And my special coffee, my bulletproof special coffee, has no mycotoxins because we bake all our beans in a special spectrum of light. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'll buy anything you make. I got to try this coffee. I want to drink coffee every day. You mean coffee's actually good for you? Yeah, I'll buy this. He almost like changed the game. It's just like, hey guys.
Almost, and then he was full of shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Has anybody tried these teeth whitener things that like JP Sears and Dave Asprey or
the
Primal
blue light
Life?
thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Primal
the
Life
light.
blue light thing. I'm like, I got to get one of these because I've done way too much hydrogen peroxide in those strips on my teeth until you start feeling like your teeth are breaking down and they're so sensitive. Like you bite into ice cream and you're like, ow, ow, ow. And, yeah, I noticed that JP Sears, he drinks a lot of coffee. I've seen it in his posts. And he almost has a voice that's dehydrated sounding, like he drinks a lot of coffee. And the same thing I noticed about Dave Asprey. He's always on his coffee kick. And he almost has this like relaxed, like tired voice and kind of like dried out voice that it sounds like he drinks a lot of coffee. And
Who's Dave Asprey?
He's the bulletproof guy.
Oh, okay.
And I knew an entrepreneur. Me and a friend worked on a chocolate farm of this one author, crazy wizard entrepreneur dude. You might know who I'm talking about. And he went to college with Dave Asprey. And he said that Dave Asprey was like overweight and obese. And he was just kind of like a loser. And it was kind of sad. He said that. And it's just like, you can never really fully trust this guy, what he says, because he's a big storyteller. But he's just like, yeah, we felt sorry for Dave Asprey. He was just kind of like this loser. And he's like, I'm going to make it, you guys. I'll show you all. And I guess he lost a lot of weight and sold his bulletproof thing. And I guess maybe it's really beneficial to a lot of people.
Man, I don't know. I've never actually had the bulletproof with the MCT oil and all that. I've maybe I have had it with the MCT oil, maybe some other oil, but usually because I don't have any of that stuff, I just put the butter in.
Mm-hmm. I think that's just as good. If you're using good beans and good butter, it's like he almost markets it up. It's like, oh, you're using MCT oil? Well, this is 8 times condensed. This is brain octane oil. And, oh, you use regular organic beans? Well, I've got mycotoxin sun-baked spectrum of light-baked mycotoxin-free coffee. So it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. I remember I actually bought like a whole package of the bulletproof coffee and the brain octane oil, and I made the whole bulletproof thing, and I drank it, and I was like, oh okay. I was kind of underwhelmed. I was kind of not impressed. I was expecting something spectacular. I was like, okay.
Can you taste the MCT oil?
Not really.
No,
it's kind of tasteless. It's almost like if you took coconut oil and took out the coconut flavor, then there's just kind of like an oily, tasteless
Substance.
oil. Yeah. It does have some flavor, a little bit of hint of coconut, but not much. But I definitely notice it makes me poop, that MCT oil. I was like, oh, I need a bathroom stat. I don't want to shit my britches. Shit your britches.
No.
But if I want a fatty coffee, really just my favorite now is grass-fed butter and a scoop of collagen. And it does me good. I feel really good. My skin feels good. I don't really need the MCT necessarily because it's like, I'm going to poop really quick after this.
The last thing you want is you're taking your coffee out the door to go to work.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Get in the car. No.
Everyone at work is on that like coffee poop schedule. So I'm like the first one in the bathroom.
Like they have to use it at once to get to work.
Like a lot of yeah. It's like, dang it, Jake is already in the shitter. But I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna show up 5 minutes early, and I was like, got the bathroom to myself. Sorry guys, MCT this morning. Back on the keto train.
Man. Well, that's what happens when. What time do you have to be at work?
6.
That's what happens when you're 6 in the morning. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Coffee. I wonder if there's anyone out there that relates to this. I've been so much of a coffee drinker. I noticed there was a moment where I started drinking coffee and I would get tired. I would drink coffee and I wouldn't have that uppity, like, inspiring feeling. It was just like, I feel comatose. And so in the last few weeks, I've been switching to green tea. But I want to do that on my fasting days. And if I just have plain green tea on an empty stomach, it hurts my stomach. But, oh my gosh. Yeah.
What about coffee on an empty stomach? Does that hurt your stomach?
Not so bad, no.
Weird. You'd think it'd be reversed there.
Right. I want to get some better green tea. I want to get some fancier stuff. Maybe that'll work. But, top me off, friend. Amigo. Thank you.
By the way, it's $29 a bottle.
Oh, well, I mean, I said it can be $20 at a discount price. It can be, but it's usually $25, $30.
Yeah, so I got it on sale, $25.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, it's on sale.
But worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo Trace.
Joe Rogan's not kidding. It's good stuff for the price.
We're super trendy drinking that, but when something's good and it's cheap, you get it. That's it.
Yeah. Whoa. It just tastes like a cabin in the woods.
Mm-hmm. It's just immediately hit me different than the cognac, you know?
Yeah. It's a little sharper.
It's like always like a... And I realized there's no point in me holding this by the stem. Because you know that the reason for holding the stem is so you don't warm your alcohol or like your wine.
Are you supposed to hold snifters like this by the bulb? Or are you actually supposed to hold it by the stem? I've always been...
I mean, if it's got a stem, that makes me think it's meant to be held by the stem.
Yeah.
I guess I don't want to warm it. It's good at the temperature it's at.
Yeah. I guess, is this just pompous to hold it like the bulb and spin it around? Or is that actually how you hold a snifter? Maybe if you're holding it down here, with a flat palm, then you're not warming it. You're just kind of holding the stem.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah. I've seen fancy...
I'm still warming mine.
I've seen fancy pricks do it like this.
Yeah.
So if you just keep your palm...
So that means it can't be right. Yeah. Cheers. Nice.
That's good. And we actually don't drink this much usually, except in the wintertime.
Yeah.
We just pop open a bottle for the podcast.
It sucks. I had a shoot last night, and there were a couple of people, a couple in their 60s. Mm-hmm. They wanted some portraits done, and I thought by the end of it, I'm like, I usually try to find things that I can think people can connect with. So this one kind of backfired on me. We were walking on this path, and we looked in some guy's backyard. He was building like an outdoor bar. And he kind of pointed out oh, what's he building? Oh, it looks like a bar. And then I said something about I'm going to have a glass of wine when I get home tonight, and they're like, yeah, we don't drink. We stopped drinking 10 years ago. And I'm like, gosh. Oh yeah, well, I mean, and I kind of tried to save it. And I'm like, I'll go time off and then time drinking,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the last stint I had where I wasn't drinking, I think I probably went 6 months.
That's nice. That's good.
Maybe more.
That's no small thing.
Yeah. And then when I'm drinking.
Oh, yeah. We were talking the other day. I was just like, I've been eating so off my rhythms, been eating so much food, been drinking so much. And it's like, hey, take it easy. It's wintertime and it's cold up here. And that's what your body does in the wintertime. You just stay warm and you eat because your body needs padding. And when the spring comes around and the sun comes out, you might be drinking more, actually.
Because it's nice outside.
Yeah.
But actually what sounds nice, what I'd like to do with this cold air, because where we live, we basically live Carson Valley, other side of the mountains from Tahoe, desert side, Nevada side. And what's great about it, just the whole Tahoe region, is that we get probably 330 days of sunshine a year, just completely clear skies. It's got to be that high. But where I'm going with this is how nice it would be with this cold weather to go for like a walk or like one of those deserty hikes with like a flask.
Oh yeah, dude.
That'd be nice, you know?
Some of my favorite hikes I've gone on was accompanied with a flask. I did the Alakai Swamp Trail on a rainy day. I didn't see any other people. It was just mist rolling through. There's just the green of the ferns and the boardwalk and the gray mist passing through. And I'm just like a full flask full of, I think it was Jameson. But it's just like, oh man, I got pretty dehydrated. And I was just like, oh, we need some water. So we didn't make it all the way out, but.
I never, ever did the Alakai Swamp Trail. I regret it now.
It's long.
That's why
it's so freaking long.
When I say Alakai Swamp Trail and then that's the first thing you say about it, that's probably why I never did it, because that's kind of always the reaction I got about it. Mm-hmm. No one was ever like, it's amazing. It's like the one hike you got to do on the island is. I never heard that.
Yeah. It's nice to go halfway just so you're like walking through the boardwalk of this swamp and you're like, wow, this is magic. And you don't need to go the whole way because it drags and then drags. I remember being stuck out there after the sun goes down and I'm just like, when does this freaking end? And I was doing it with a girlfriend. She's like, oh, my brother's visiting. And I'm just like, when can we get back to camp? When can we eat? You know, I'm really just doing this so we can bang after this. And it's just like, it wasn't even worth it. She didn't even put out.
You're too tired to bang afterward.
Yeah, that's what it was. She would have put out. It's just we were tired. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. You got all burned. You got all tired and sweaty, and you didn't even get to do the good stuff.
I know.
It was just a sweaty boardwalk.
She was kind of freaky, and I think I even brought it up on the trail. It's just like, hey, your brother's really far ahead. You want to, just right here on the boardwalk.
This is the start of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a Virgo. For some reason, Virgo seemed like a very sexual sign to me, but I was in a relationship for 6 years with one person, and she kind of broke me out into this freaky, free-spirited world. It's like, oh my God, okay. She was kind of a sex addict, and I think she passed on. It was kind of infectious. She kind of passed it on to me for a few years, and it was nice.
Yeah.
It was fun for a time. It's what you do in your 20s, but she was a lot older. She was in her 30s. I'm like, why are you still doing this? I'm looking down on her while I'm 20 years old. She's 30 years old. It's like, what's wrong with you, girl? Stop putting out to me. Stop being a freak. Stop doing this in public restrooms.
Man, it's just such a shame that like we couldn't ever get it when you're like 13 or like 11.
Never.
Man, and it's like, dude, women will never understand. Like maybe you will. Maybe I think women, they flip-flop. They get into it like later. Right. But like, but man, when I was 13 or like 11 or young, I remember thinking if there was an actual ultimatum, like someone was like, hey, you can have sex with this woman, but you will die. I remember.
You'll take it.
Yes. That's how bad you want it.
I remember that. It hurts. It hurts. I remember that. Oh, gosh.
And even proof of that is that movie Species came out when I was young.
Oh, my God.
And these guys literally had sex with the most beautiful woman, and then they died in the movie. And I thought, you know what?
That's worth it. I thought the same thing. I'm glad you brought that up. I watched that movie, and I'm just like, oh, my God, I'd so die for that. I would just die. I'd die for that.
I thought she was the most Natasha Henstridge.
Okay. I remember my sister talks about this, like about Jennifer Connelly, and who's the girl from Mallrats and Meet Joe Black.
Oh yeah.
She's like, when I look at her, it hurts. She's too beautiful. It hurts. And I'm like, I get it. What were we just talking about? Oh yeah, the Species girl. Oh my God, I saw that on Sci-Fi Channel, and even though it was like abridged and cut for like violence and sexual, it's Sci-Fi Channel, but whatever I saw on that is just like, I couldn't breathe and I couldn't live another day knowing that such a beautiful woman existed. It's just like my whole life is going to be in pain knowing that such a beautiful woman exists.
I know.
It hurts. Oh my God.
I know. I mean, dude, we grew up in I especially harsh times. When I wanted to watch, first of all, there was no watching porn. There was only like, can I find an image on the internet? And then here's the worst part is, the image, worse, but now I maybe think of it as a blessing, but it was dial-up back then, dial-up modem speed. So it would load the image, from the top down, and I just be like, oh, so good,
please,
so good.
please,
And then it's
please,
like, then you
please.
see a tit, and you're like, oh yeah, and then it's like you're waiting, and it's like the build up, and it's like and it's amazing, the build up. It's got to go all the way from top down. You know what I mean?
We had the golden age of porn because you can't get that slow gratification anymore. It's just whatever you want, anytime. Here you go. But you actually had to wait for it. You had to wait the 5 minutes for AOL to actually connect.
right.
And then you type in whatever weird word or phrase and askjeeves.com. You're
Seriously,
just like,
you needed a good 45 minutes to get like 3 photos. And then I got wise at one point. I realized, and like I had to do this when the parents were gone or whatever, but I realized, dude, I'm waiting so long for these pictures to load that when it finally loads, I'm going to print it. Printed it with the printer. Then I put it in my own folder.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember my friends used to do that. They had this whole like binder of like printed stuff.
Parents probably wondering why all their ink is gone.
Now you know, parents, why all the ink's gone.
They're like, damn, dude, these cartridges are so expensive. Where are they going?
Do you remember pay-per-view? I remember we only had like 60 channels with our first TVs and stuff. And when you get into like channel 99, then it would just be a bunch of color and snow, and it'd be like wavy. But every now and then you'd see like a negative image of like a naked body, and you hear like every now and like a moan. So sometimes like late at night, it was like, oh, my parents are out of town, or like, oh man, it's so late, they're not coming out of their room. I go to pay-per-view channel 99, and I just like wait for an image of like a boob.
Yeah.
And a moan. It's like,
the patience we had,
Yeah, it's almost like we had so much patience.
I did it with a friend, like same sort of thing. Just sitting there. It's funny to think that like, if you think like objectively outward, like these kids are sitting there looking at a TV, just watching a TV, just scrambled the whole time, like just waiting, but watching so intensely, waiting.
Please.
Yeah, I know it was. Yeah, man, those are good times. It's like it's too easy now.
It's too easy. I feel I don't really want to know what it's like in the mind of the kids these days.
No.
I don't want to actually put on the shoes of what it's like to be that. We're talking about this, and whenever this virtual reality of porn shows up, I'm not going to participate. I might look at it once just to see what it's all about, but I do not want to involve myself. I mean, even in the last,
if you do once, there'd be maybe no going back.
Yeah, even in the last few years, I just like, even searching up internet porn, it doesn't feel right. There's just something that's not in integrity with it, because I know if I desensitize my fantasies in my mind, I can't actually have good physical relationship with my partner.
Yeah.
And although sometimes when I'm really, really drunk, then I'm like, oh, slip up, and like I can cheat by like, I don't know, not actually going down the full road, but maybe just like a photo, not a video, or just like, but I'm like, no. And then the next morning I'm like, why did I do that? No, I was drunk.
It's like you literally had a one night stand.
Yeah.
With porn.
Babe, I gotta admit, I typed in Japanimation photo of 2 blue aliens. I'm sorry. It's like I try to like,
sorry.
I try to make it
what are you
so
talking about?
not even porn. It's like, how far removed from actual porn can I make it but it's still turning me on? Yeah, but only when I'm drunk. And actually, not anymore. I can't say that. I don't know. Sometimes when you're drunk, you don't know what you're gonna do.
No. Man, it is a strange thing, man. I remember seeing like maybe I saw it on some like YouTube post or something talking about this, but I remember people talking in the comment sections kind of saying like, yeah, man, I've gone like talking about it as if it's like a drug, because it is. And they're like, they're like something about like, I went like 1 year or something and then came back. Like you always come back.
You always remember.
What I mean?
You'll never
They're
get
like,
those highs of dopamine. You remember.
And it's what's so dangerous about it. And if, like, imagine, like you said, like with the virtual goggles and the metaverse thing that could be happening. Like, wow, just like you said, frying your synapses.
I know.
There's no competing with that.
And I guess you could just be complacent, or it's like so good. Like a lot of heroin addicts. I've heard this where it's just like, you know what? I know it's bad. I know I'm going to die, but there's nothing else in this world that's just, this is this good. I'm going to die from this and I'm going to keep going until I die. And they know that. So it's almost like these guys who have these sex dolls that just like, they've chosen this life where they're never going to have a girlfriend again because they get everything they need by coming home to their harem
with no resistance
of plastic. Yeah. They talk to their dolls. They pet their dolls' hair. They have like podcast interviews like, well, this is Sarah and this is Betsy. And he talks to them and he watches movies with them. And, you know, he has a full relationship with each one. And he has no interest in dating real women. And he knows that. And he's like, I'm so much happier with these dolls because these dolls give everything that a woman can't give me. And it's just like,
yeah,
take away the entire. Yeah. It's like, you don't have to grow. You don't have to evolve yourself with a woman. You
don't even have to ask for sex.
Right. It's just like there's never no. It's just anything you want.
Even if your wife or girlfriend or partner or yes, yeah, there you go. Or partner. Yeah. Even if they're so nice to where they're just like, hey, just tell me anytime you want it. And, you know, sure, I'll do it for you. I may not be in the mood or whatever, but I'll do it for you. It's like you still have to ask. Like that's still some sort of effort, you know what I mean? Like even the most minimal effort situation still requires effort. And what these guys have is even better than that. Mm-hmm. No effort at all. It's like they literally just have like their sex robot slave woman laying there for them, ready to go anytime, as many times as they want all day long. So if you're one of those guys, I get it, man. We get it. Mm-hmm. I've always been curious though. You know what I mean? Like I've always wanted to, dude, I'm such a, what do you call it? I'm such like a sex toy virgin. Like I've never used one. I've never even tried one.
Same until this year.
Super. Oh man. All right. I've always been super interested in the fleshlight.
Yeah. Right.
Always super. And what's so intriguing about it too is like I've browsed the website. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, wow, dude. It's like, and they show you all these molds, and it's like, and you can choose, like, you can see all these patterns, and you're like, wow, like, you can imagine how that one's getting. And you're like, no, that one, right. no. And it's like, man, super curiosity is there. Yeah. You know. And then it's like I get it, man. Like it'd also be sort of dangerous too. It'd make it, I know if I had one, I'd be so much less likely to even be bugging my partner, because it's already a pain in the ass, dude. I got 3 kids. Yeah. Where everyone's busy. To even try and fit it in right now is just a pain in the ass. But if I had my own fleshlight, if you want to sponsor this podcast, you want to send me a few free samples, I'm up for it.
You know, I think fleshlight is like the standard, you know, like Band-Aid. Nobody says adhesive bandage anymore. Everyone says Band-Aid. So I think fleshlight is just what people think of, but they're not the only one that makes that particular device. I mean, do you ever go into Spencer's or Hot Topic in the mall? You just go to the back corner. It's like, oh my God, there's all these different brands of fleshlights I can choose from.
I haven't.
So I was in Portland. I got a bunch of money and I was like moving soon. And I went into Spencer's and I was just like, screw it, man. I've been single for 3 years and I kind of don't feel like I have a lot of libido anyway. And I feel like, I don't know, is there something sexually damaged or wrong with me? So I was like, oh, I don't know. Let's wake this back up again. And I was like, screw it. And I bought a toy. I was surprised. Like I even brought it up to like the male cashier and I was just like, yeah. And I didn't even be like, oh yeah, you know, there's a birthday gift. Yeah. I didn't say that. I was just like, yeah, that's for me.
Yeah. Way to own it. You got to own it.
I was just like, yeah, that's all me. And he's like, oh, well, okay. I highly recommend if you have a toy, you got to have the spray. It's a disinfectant spray. And if you use a toy a lot, it's just really beneficial. Just after each use, you can give it some sprays. And, it doesn't, helps with the odor and it helps with the bacteria. And I was like, give it to me, bro. Give it to me.
Sold.
Yeah, sold. And I was like, any good lotions you recommend for these? And he was just like, oh, you could use spit. You could use No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I had to do some discovering on my own time.
I don't know why. That was a funny image to me. Just like...
He's like, this one's on the house. This one's for me.
Which I'm sure everyone that's had one has probably ran out and they're like, well, what the hell? And it's probably done that.
But it's kind of, I like just not giving just giving less craps the more you get older. And when you can find partners or girlfriends or even a fiance that they're not trying to hide anything anymore. Like, I just started dating this lady, and she was like, what do you like in the bedroom? I was like, I don't know exactly. And she's like, do you like toys? I like toys. I've had a lot of toys. I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, great. Good for you. And I was like, I almost didn't want to say, because I feel just I'm such a good Judeo-Christian upbringing boy. And it's like, I've never owned a toy, but it was just like, I bought a toy for the first time this year, and I broke it. And I used it quite a few more times after I broke it. And she's like, I've done the same thing. And I was like, oh, good. She gets it. There's no pretenses.
How hard are you in that thing to break it?
I think it was just, okay. So
no, I'm just kidding. That's just a joke, because now I have an image in my mind that'd be pretty funny. Like somebody just like hate effing their toy, like, and then breaks it. Yeah.
Well, this is a good experiment, because Fleshlight might be a quality product, and this was kind of like your cheapest one.
Oh, see, go with the name brand.
Yeah, and I could tell the plastic wasn't very well like designed, and it almost like the edges of the plastic had like these sharp edges.
That's not what you want.
So each time after you use it, you're supposed to like take the rubbery silicone out and clean it, and then you put it back in. So each time you take it out and put it back in, it kind of like sharply rubs against the plastic.
Jeez.
So just like enough times doing that, it's just like the side of the tube, the wall of the side tube was split open just a little bit, like a little crack. And so it just started getting bigger and bigger. So if you put it in the wrong way, it hurt. So you had to twist it like the right way.
Wow. How much did that cost? Do you remember?
$30.
Oh, well, I could see that is because that is definitely
That's a bargain.
Cheaper. Yeah.
That's a bargain. You know, it's funny. I've been putting off wanting to do a podcast and just letting my mind speak and just whatever comes out. There's been so much resistance to that because I was afraid of what my parents might think.
Yeah.
I was afraid of what my dad might say. He's just like, I don't want you talking about this. I don't approve of this. Sometimes I send them comedic videos I make on Instagram, and I can tell they're disapproving, because it's like, you talked about sex in there. You said some profanity in there, and you're not being a very good example of a proper gentleman. And I was just like, interesting. It's like there's this strange resistance from letting just whatever comes out, the good, the bad, the ugly, the estranged, and the dark. I was raised in a very like, this is proper, this is right, this is good. We want to go in this direction, and you want to show the world that you're a good example, you're a good person. But the thing is, we're all human. And if you're a human, you have the entire spectrum of demons, darkness, of disgusting, perverse thoughts. We're all perverted. And if you try to not be a bad person so hard, you're going to project it onto other people or entire groups of people.
Yeah.
So owning up to knowing you've got demons, you've got beautiful angels as well. You have such capacity for being beautiful and good and altruistic, and you also have the capacity to fucking destroy the planet and to put the entire population in hell for generations. You have that capacity. We're human beings. We're a part of this collective consciousness. You cannot be exempt. Being a human comes along.
Yeah.
It's innate. We all hurt. We all suffer. We all have beautiful potentials, and we also have nightmares.
Yep, to varying degrees. You're right. Everybody has a shadow side, a light side, to varying degrees. And you're right. I think, like, first of all, one of the biggest beneficial, benefits of knowing this or understanding this is that you start to relinquish judgment on others.
Yeah.
Because you know that it's like, why would I judge somebody else for like what they did? Because I can understand why they did what they did.
Totally.
I can understand why everybody does what they do. You know what I mean? So I cannot judge other people. Mm-hmm. And then that's just by releasing judgment of other people, man, that just makes life a whole lot lighter for yourself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's freedom.
Yeah. Like, man, getting so angry, judging people all the time.
Yeah, there's a funny paradox. It's like when you actually own up to being as despicable as you could possibly be, and owning your pain and owning your darkness and everything you don't want to face about yourself, the most horrible things that you admit about yourself, when you really go there and you accept it, that's where true compassion comes from. That's where true freedom comes from, because it's like you're no longer trying to push away these people because they're different than me. It's like, oh, that's just me. If you're a human, you got the same things I got. And true suffering, true pain, true grueling hells will bring out that relaxed compassion, that like non-judgment will just show up. This is like you've got no more energy to suffer more. And it's almost like the more you go through those tunnels of hells and darkness, the more you can see when someone else is putting up a facade.
Yeah.
The more you can see when someone feels guilt or shame and they don't want to face certain dark parts about them. You can see it right on their being, on their body language. You can see it right on their face. But the thing is, you're not judging them for it, because you just see yourself, what you go through all the time, what you've been through. It's like, oh, wow, they're going through that phase I went through when I was 16. And they just are going through it when they're 48. You know, and
yeah. And nothing wrong with that.
There's
Everyone's at
nothing wrong with
their
that.
own pace. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like if we're given this whole spectrum, like a circle of collective human unconscious, then most people like live off these lessons when they're in their teens and 20s. And some people don't get to have that. So it just switches. So when they're like 30 or 40, they get to have that. But I feel like to have the full human experience, no one is exempt. And it's just like someone who's had radical, brutal moments in their life, or they're forced to evolve very quickly. They have almost like wisdom or compassion where they see like, oh, every spectrum and every level of learning, it doesn't matter when it comes, doesn't matter what age you learn it, you're going to learn it at some point.
There's always somebody further along than you are too. You know what I mean? Like
always.
That's it. There's always. So it's like, yeah, you're never going to be the one on the one on the top. And if actually, I don't know, if you are the one on top, then you know it, I guess. You probably know it.
Then you start a religion and they'll remember you for centuries.
Well, I forgot to open that window, man. So it's super hot in here. Face is getting red. We hit an hour already.
That's good. That's good.
So what do you think? We wrap this up?
Yeah. I'd say whatever we're going through in our stories and our lessons right now, it's all part of this horrible, frightening, beautiful, awe-inspiring thing we can't make sense of that we call human existence.
Yeah. And with that, maybe introductions at the end. We didn't do it this episode.
I like that. You just come right in like a cinematic movie. It's just like, what's going on? Just like, boom, right into it. And then we'll have like our prayers and intentions and intros at the end.
Yeah, I'm Bryan Geiger.
I'm Cam Goodman.
Cool.
Thanks for listening, for real.
Please comment, give us some sort of feedback. This is probably going to be the first video. We've done a few others. We don't know which ones will be staying on the page. But if you've watched this far, we really much appreciate that. And let us know what you think. Like it, subscribe.
Yeah, let us know what subjects you like us when we talk about certain things.
Yeah, we're kind of going around just a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll be doing this every week, nonstop.
That's right. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
See ya.